Coming up on Carolina News at 4. The USC Health Center was set to give out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine today, but after blood clot concerns, the CDC and FDA are urging changes.
So this is not uncommon in healthcare.
And there's still a year and a half until the 2022 election, but one Democratic lawmaker is already starting a run for Senate.
I will be that bold, fearless leader for you.
And there's a bill in the Senate that would expand gun rights, but not all leaders support the bill.
We have background checks, and I don't know how you do that without permits.
The debate over the bill and more, now on Carolina News.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Fallon Adams.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tori Sloan. The USC Center for Health and Well-Being was set to begin giving out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine today, but now those plans are changing.
It comes after the FDA and CDC made an announcement today that the use of the vaccine should be put on pause.
That's right. There are 6 reports of people getting blood clots after getting the vaccine.
Elizabeth East is live outside the health center with more on their plans and where it stands. Elizabeth?
Yes, Fallon and Tori, the Student Health Center here on campus was supposed to start rolling out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine today, but it has been put on pause. I spoke with Student Health Center officials, and they told me there are still plenty of other doses of the other vaccines.
Everyone that has had an appointment for today, we're trying to reach them and let them know that we're not going to provide that vaccine until we have further guidance from the CDC and that we have the Moderna.
The health center also has a partnership with Lexington Medical and will give out the Pfizer vaccine. While there is a concern about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine causing blood clots, some that received the shot are not worried.
I feel fine about it. I think the rewards outweigh the risk at this point, and I had it for some time now, so I feel confident in the vaccine that I got.
Beck wants to emphasize that a pause is not unusual.
So this is not uncommon in healthcare, that whenever you see a consistent side effect is that they pause, whether it's a medication or a vaccine. We put it on pause, and then we wait till the FDA does their additional studies, and then we'll go from there.
While the health center is waiting for further guidance, SCDHEC has placed an immediate pause on the distribution of the vaccine. Because South Carolina only receives around 7,000 doses of the vaccine per week, it's going to have a low impact on the state. Reporting live from the Student Health Center, Elizabeth East, Carolina News.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Here in South Carolina, over 82,000 people have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Just over 37% of the population has gotten one vaccination, and over 23% is fully vaccinated. And as more South Carolinians get vaccinated, the United States is about to reach a major milestone. The White House says that by the end of the week, nearly half of U.S. adults will have had their first shot. But Dr. Anthony Fauci says it's too soon to let your guard down.
If I say we're in the 7th inning, it's almost over, and we have surges like we're seeing throughout Europe and the rest of the world, and the threat of a surge that we're seeing now, you know, it's not measured in innings anymore. It's measured on what we do to contain this.
Right now, the CDC says 46% of adults have gotten one shot.
DHEC has released the latest coronavirus numbers in the state. Today, the state reported nearly 4,050 new cases of COVID-19 in South Carolina. South Carolina also had 12 new deaths related to the virus. The testing positivity rate is 5%.
Well, it's been a beautiful week here in Columbia.
Yes, I know we've all been enjoying this warm weather, and our own Allison Berry is out at the Kennedy Greenhouse. Allison, can you tell us if the sunshine is here to stick around?
That's right, Fallon and Tori. As I'm standing out here, I am soaking in the sun rays. It is sunny and bright, currently at 81 degrees, a little over 50% humidity, and little to no wind. Stick around and later in the show to find out the rest of the weather for the week. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Allison. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says she will not run for president in 2024. If former President Trump decides to run, she made the announcement during a news conference at South Carolina State University yesterday, adding that she would support Trump if he decided to run again. Haley's name comes up frequently on lists of potential Republican nominees for 2024. A Democratic House representative from the Low Country is setting her sights on the Capitol. Our Brianna Moody is at the State House with more on how a single mother of 5 is trying to level out South Carolina.
More than a year and a half ahead of the general elections, South Carolina House Representative of District 117, Crystal Matthews, announced her campaign for the U.S. Senate.
We need someone bold. I will be that bold, fearless leader for you. I will be one tough mother.
The Democratic state lawmaker is mounting to unseat Republican Senator Tim Scott. Matthews was recently reelected for a second term in the state house, where she represents areas in North Charleston, which is traditionally a Republican area. During her campaign, Matthews' top priority is getting residents registered to vote, especially in rural areas. She plans to register over 150,000 new Democratic votes to help close the gap. While Matthews expresses that she has support from Jamie Harrison, she wants the people to know she is not him.
Is she the perfect candidate? No. Any of us up here, have we been perfect candidates? No. What I believe very strongly is that people here in South Carolina want the real deal.
The single mother of 5 worked at Boeing since 2008 and is an advocate for the working class. Matthews won't resign from her House seat during her campaign. For Carolina News, I'm Brianna Moody.
Thanks, Brianna. Foster care and group homes in South Carolina will not be allowed to take in unaccompanied children found at the southern border. Governor McMaster made that call in an executive order issued yesterday. In it, he blamed President Joe Biden for a humanitarian crisis on the border. McMaster also said that the order ensures that the South Carolina children come first. It isn't clear how many children from the federal government wanted to house in South Carolina.
South Carolinians with disabilities can be paid less than minimum wage if they work for certain agencies. But now a General Assembly bill could change that. The Fair Labor Standards Act says that people with disabilities can be paid less than minimum wage if their employer has a certificate to do so. If the bill passed, South Carolina would be the 7th state to ban the practice. Around 1,200 people in South Carolina are currently paid less than minimum wage.
Coming up on Carolina News, one tunnel on the USC campus is filling up with art, but I found out the changes that are coming soon. But first, the prosecution rested its case in the trial of Derek Chauvin, who the defense has called to the stand so far.
More breaking news this afternoon. As President Biden says, the U.S. will withdraw all troops from Afghanistan over the next few months. He plans to complete the exit by September 11th, the 20th anniversary of the attacks that drew the United States into its longest war.
The defense team for Derek Chauvin has started witness testimony as the prosecution rested its case earlier today. The prosecution called 38 witnesses over 11 days. Defense witnesses that testified today include a former Minneapolis police officer and a retired paramedic. Chauvin is charged with the murder of George Floyd, and he has pleaded not guilty to all charges. And just miles away from the courtroom, protests continued for a second night after a black man was shot and killed by police in Minnesota. That officer and the police chief have now resigned. Multiple counties were under curfew last night, but people still gathered outside the Brooklyn Center police station. There were reports of tear gas, flashbangs, and looting. Dante Wright was shot and killed by Brooklyn Center police during a traffic stop.
Well, it's one of the more controversial bills going through the State House recently, and now the Senate is nearing a vote on the open carry bill.
Our Megan Carter is live in the newsroom with more on what to expect this week. Megan?
That's right, Tori. The open carry without a permit bill passed the South Carolina State House and is in the Senate. This bill would allow South Carolina citizens 18 and older to openly carry a firearm without a permit. I got a chance to speak with Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey to hear his thoughts on the bill.
The permit is the vehicle that ensures that people have training, and it ensures that people have background checks.
At the State House, the South Carolina State Senate is continuing to discuss gun rights across the state. The South Carolina House passed the open carry bill by a slim margin, and the same arguments are expected to be held in the Senate. The debate lies with whether gun owners should be required to have a permit to carry a firearm. Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey says that training and permits are how we filter out bad actors.
Those are the good guys. We know they're the good guys. We don't have problems with permit holders. There are very few instances of permit holders being convicted of violent crimes.
Senator Massey says that this is where his issues lie with the bill.
That we have background checks, and I don't know how you do that without permits.
The Senate is expected to meet again this Thursday, but there's no word as of yet if the bill is on the docket for discussion. Live from the newsroom, I'm Megan Carter.
Thanks, Megan. Classes are canceled at a Knoxville school for 2 days after a student was killed in a police encounter on Monday. That afternoon, police officers responded to a call of a potentially armed student at Austin East High School. Officers found the suspect in the bathroom with a gun. When officers asked him to come out, he fired shots. Police then returned firing, killing the suspect.
This was an officer-involved shooting inside of a school, right? So much different, right? So at this point, the student hadn't done anything with the firearm until the officers engaged.
One officer remains in the hospital after being injured. This adds to the list of gun violence at the school, which already lost 4 students in the past few months. Cherry Park Elementary School is providing grief counselors following the fatal shooting this past week in Rock Hill. 2 of the 6 killed were students at the school. Grief counselors and parents explained the shooting to the children and helped them work through their loss. The counselors will remain at the school for the rest of the week, assessing the student situation at the end of each day.
The walls of the pedestrian tunnel under Assembly Street are filling up fast with art in the name of free expression. But as I found out, changes are coming soon to the tunnel. Take a look.
Free expression can be seen in many forms, including this.
Right here under Assembly Street is this pedestrian tunnel, where you used to see blank walls, and now it's a blank canvas for anyone to come express themselves.
The tunnel walls have been filling up and are now almost fully decorated with paintings and messages. But not everyone agrees with the decision to make the tunnel open to expression and are trying to get the art removed. The University of South Carolina's facilities office is now being asked to remove the paint.
What I've been asked to do is to get it all cleaned up and painted. To be quite worse now. I mean, it's a daily occurrence now. It's just not the image that most want set for the campus.
But some students like Finn Rockwell believe it's a tribute to the First Amendment on campus.
It just gives people kind of a voice who might not have a voice online or with their friends or, you know, with the entire student population. So I think it gives them a platform to express themselves, and also it allows us to kind of appreciate everyone's right and freedom to free expression.
And like many, hopes the tunnel doesn't return to what it was before. The facilities office had no comment on when the paint will be removed. In the meantime, the tunnel will continue to show off its art. For Carolina News, I'm Tori Sloan.
I always love walking through the colorful tunnel on the way to class.
I did too. I hate to see it go. Allison's out at the Kennedy Greenhouse. How does it feel out there, Allison?
It is beautiful out here, and that sunshine is not going away. After the break, I'll have your full forecast for the rest of the week. Welcome back to Carolina News. Let's get into our weather. Currently in Columbia, it is mostly sunny, temperatures at 81 degrees, humidity 56%, a little heavier than we like to see, but winds are southwest 2 miles per hour, nothing crazy to worry about. Currently, the temperatures across the state, it is 81 in Columbia, right below Aiken-Orangeburg. We also see 81 degrees. Up in Rock Hill and Greenville, we will see 79 degrees. 79 in Florence, and along that coast, a little bit chillier, 73 all across Hilton Head, Charleston, and Myrtle Beach. Now tonight, tonight's lows, we will see that drop in temperature. It will be 54 degrees, similar in Aiken and Orangeburg, 54 and 55. 54 and 51 in Greenville and Rock Hill, and actually as we get to that coast, it will get warmer, 58, 59 in Charleston, 61 in Hilton Head. Now tomorrow's highs, it is going to be another beautiful day, 86 in Columbia, a little bit cooler in Orangeburg and Aiken at 85 and 83, a little bit cooler also in Greenville and Rock Hill, we have 81 and 83. 81 in Florence, and then again chillier weather throughout the day on the coast, 77 in Hilton Head, 79 in Charleston, and 73 in Myrtle Beach. Now for our 5-day forecast, Wednesday it is going to be partly cloudy. If you look throughout the week, it will be partly cloudy the whole week. We're going to see 86 tomorrow, the highest temperature for the next 5 days, low of 63. As we get into Thursday, it's going to be 75 degrees, low of 46, a little bit chillier. Then as we get into Friday, again, partly cloudy, high of 72, low of 50. And then Saturday, 72 and 75 on Sunday with the low of 52. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Allison. Dawn Staley wrapped up the season with a press conference earlier today.
And see what NFL stars' big announcement was yesterday under the lights of the Gillette Stadium. Sports is next.
Welcome back to Carolina News. Time for sports. Gamecock baseball is back in action tonight versus Charleston Southern and Founders Park at 7 p.m. South Carolina has a tough road ahead as they will be facing off against the nation's number 1, 6, 4, and 5 team in the country. Coach Mark Kingston was asked about this hard schedule ahead.
Every weekend is a grind, is a challenge. No question about it. It's the SEC. Everybody has more players than normal this year, so every weekend is a grind and a great opportunity and a great challenge, and that's why we love it.
All Minnesota professional sport teams canceled their sporting event due to the shooting that took place in their state on Monday. The teams who canceled their events are the Minnesota Twins, Minnesota Wild, and Minnesota Timberwolves. Many other teams who played across the country bared arms together in a moment of silence. The Denver Nuggets, who were coming off an 8-game win streak, had a matchup against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry made history this game, passing Wilt Chamberlain as the Warriors' all-time leading scorer, and then went on to finish the game scoring 50 points. Unfortunately, that was all overshadowed by the leg injury to Jamal Murray. He was deeply in pain and had to be helped off the floor. Today it came out that Murray had a torn ACL and will be out for the rest of the season. Dawn Staley and the Gamecock women's basketball team got back from the Final Four just a few days ago, and Staley held a press conference wrapping up the season earlier today. Our Sloan O'Cone is at Colonial Life Arena with more.
Yes, I'm here outside of Colonial Life Arena, home to the 2021 Final Four women's basketball team. Earlier today, Coach Dawn Staley held a press conference to talk about her season and reflect on all of their accomplishments. And she says there are great things ahead.
2 layups that could have changed the whole trajectory of the championship.
Coach Dawn Staley lamented the loss of the Final Four game against Stanford earlier today, but that doesn't outweigh the incredible season the women had. Gamecock Central writer Colin Taylor was impressed with the women's success.
They really started to click, and when they're playing their best ball, they're a hard team to beat.
A team that is inspired by Coach Staley.
She's instilled this belief that this is a powerhouse program, and she's turned it into, a dynasty.
Co-host of the game, Tim Hill, noted that the dynasty isn't going anywhere.
Year to come, obviously it was a tremendous year for Dawn Staley, yet another one, and her program's set up for sustained success for a long, long time.
She's recruited talented young women to hopefully take U of SC back to the championship.
We will fight like tooth and nails to get back and get next season.
Staley says even though they didn't win it all, that doesn't mean they aren't champions.
We may not be the national champions, but we championed adversity.
And although the women did not come home with a trophy again this year, Coach Staley says the team will use the loss as a motivation to be champions once again. For Carolina News, I'm Sloan Ocone.
Thanks, Sloan. The three-time Super Bowl champion, Julian Edelman, made a big announcement yesterday. Take a look.
Now, I've always said, I'm going to go until the wheels come off. And they finally have fallen off. Due to an injury last year, I'll be making my official announcement of my retirement from football. It was a hard decision, but the right decision for me and my family.
The MVP of the 2019 Super Bowl will always be a fan favorite, especially among Patriots Nation. So do y'all think that Edelman is a Hall of Famer?
I think so. He has won 3 Super Bowls. What do you think, Fallon?
Well, I definitely think he'd look good in that gold Hall of Famer jacket.
I would have to agree on that one.
Up next on Carolina News.
Coming up new at 4:30, many people get concussions from normal everyday activities, but one high school student eased her symptoms with a new type of therapy.
But first, one Broadway star is satisfied now that a Times Square facility has been transformed into a vaccination site. Why he thinks the site will run better than others. Finally, on Carolina News, Broadway has been closed for over a year, but there's one star that's not throwing away his shot.
That's right. Lin-Manuel Miranda toured a vaccination site in Times Square with New York Mayor Bill de Blasio. Miranda said that the site is being run by Broadway stage managers, so they know how to make sure things run on time.
Well, Tori, what do you think about going to Broadway and going to get our vaccine?
Hey, I'll go. Why not?
Well, what do you think, Allison?
I would love to get my vaccine up in New York. I actually already packed my bags. I'm really hoping the weather up there is looking a lot like the weather down here. It's going to be all 86 and then mid-70s all throughout the rest of the week. The low tomorrow is going to be 63, a little bit cooler, 46, 50 on Friday, 52 on Saturday, and 52 on Sunday. And that's all I have for this 5-day forecast. Back to Fallon and Tori.
That's all the time we have today. Thanks so much for being with us.
See you tomorrow. Have a great evening.